Serious, people from Reddit who survived Corona, how has your daily life changed? What are the side effects after? I had no symptoms and only got tested because I was planning on visiting someone who is vulnerable. Turns out I had antibodies but wasn't sick at all. Same. I live in a joint family, everyone got it but me and my mom. I'm young, healthy, and don't have any underlying disease, so I wasn't much worried. My mom on the other hand is diabetic, has blood pressure issue, sciatica, and do get sick like every month at least once. It was shocking how she was asymptomatic too. That's why it worries me. Sure, there's some big risk factors, but it really seems like some people are just predisposed to getting it bad and others aren't. My cousin had it. He's 27, extremely fit, personal trainer, and very healthy, and it ducked him up so badly he thought he was going to die. My mate's dad also had it, 73 years old, fairly stout, likes a drink. All he did was lose his sense of taste and smell. Weird. Edit, cousin has no underlying health conditions, no vitamin D deficiency, and has fully recovered. Mate's dad regained his sense of smell and taste, and is still fat and loving life. Edit 2, cousin wasn't on a ventilator. He was at home in bed and didn't get tested until afterwards. No clue what his blood type is. Yep, my young goes on 100-mile mountain bike rides in actual mountains for fun. Cousin got wrecked by it and ended up in ICU for a bit. My 50-year-old obese diabetic coworker lost his sense of smell and was fine. Clearly being healthy wasn't the right answer. My donuts eating strategy worked. Mine was pretty mild: 3 days of being sick and 2 days of mild illness. Followed by 3 months of pretty bad asthma. I still have bad headaches almost every day. Since mid-March. That's crazy, everybody is talking about catching and beating COVID but only a few talk about the aftermath. I hope you will recover 100%, stay safe and thanks for sharing. Hi there, on BBC Radio 4 yesterday, Tuesday 29 September, at 11 a.m. there was a piece about long COVID and its effects if you're interested. A friend of mine who I used to work with is one of the head consultants on the study. Edit, long COVID BBC Radio 4 link to listen on BBC Sounds. Sorry for not including link to start with. Even if they aren't interested, link PLS smile. Edit, damn I fixed the smiley, gosh geez smile. Bro, I think her smiley face had a stroke. This is your emoji on COVID. This is your emoji on 2020. Personally, I had no effects apart from feeling shit for a few days. I was one of the first in my area to be isolated, as my dad was the second person in the county to have caught COVID whilst already in hospital. Over a period of 6 days from the day he tested positive, things got progressively worse and sadly I lost my dad on the 6th day. In normal circumstances it is almost impossible to wrap your head around, but as we were isolated it was even stranger being stuck inside whilst trying to process. Whilst this was happening, my stepmother also caught COVID, as we had all been in contact with my dad the day he had tested positive. Between 4 of us left in the household, 2 had symptoms within 10 days and 1 had absolutely no symptoms, and I had few for a short number of days. My stepmother has made a full recovery health-wise. Daily life has changed drastically over the past 6 months as we deal with my dad's passing whilst processing everything else that is happening in the world corona-related. I think the most frustrating thing is the people that do know believe, and it takes everything I have to not react to the silly comments you see plastered on social media. I know you've had lots of replies, but man, I sympathize. Both my parents got COVID at the same time and my dad eventually made a full recovery, lost 20 pores and still 3 months on his random difficulty breathing, but my mom, 57 years old and no pre-existing conditions, ended up on a ventilator and died after 3 weeks in the ICU. It has devastated my family and I don't know how to move forward. DVD cause every day the first thing on the news is COVID updates, and I'm from the south, so every day it's a different dumbass on social media bitching about masks or whatever. It takes so much to not argue. I'm so sorry about your dad. People that pretend like the death toll isn't much are people who aren't affected by it. My dad, 57, also passed away with no pre-existing conditions. He was in the ICU for around 7 weeks before passing away. It was worse than any nightmare I've ever had, with the one saving grace being that we got to be with him in his final moments before he passed away in his hospital room. It's really disheartening seeing people taking this so lightly, calling it a hoax or saying it's no worse than the flu. A flu has never done this to my dad. Keep away from the news for a bit when it starts getting to you. Stay strong. I had it quite badly back in March. I was unable to get out of bed for 2 weeks solid. I lost 16 pounds in that time, could barely breathe in the second week. Turns out I had an autoimmune response, was very feverish and exhausted all the time. I slept maybe 22 hours a day. I narrowly avoided a hospital admission, UK here. Since March it has taken a long time to get back to normal. It took about 4 months to get my fitness back, but for the first couple of months I struggled to climb the stairs without being breathless. I had strange aches and pains in my muscles. I also struggled with insomnia, nightmares and an urgent and frequent need to pee. Then at 12 weeks post-illness my hair started falling out badly. Woman here, not that it matters, but it really bothered me. Thankfully it has stopped and has started growing back. My mental health really suffered immediately afterwards. A doctor told me it was a mild trauma response. I found therapy and walking outside for an hour a day very, very helpful. Now 6 months on, I'm feeling like me again. I think I'm very lucky. Edit: wow, this blew up while I was sleeping, thank you all so much. Edit 2: sorry I didn't explain age etc. I'm 36, healthy BMI, not sharing my exact weight, no risk factors or comorbidities, active and in my view healthy. Up to this I hadn't had so much as a cold for 3 years. My wife and me, 6,063 years, had a bronchitis that just took longer to go away than normal. Only afterwards, after the test, we realized it was corona. My wife lost her smell for 2 months, I recovered without any problems. Since we now have antibodies, we're not too afraid anymore to go out, though of course we still wear masks, disinfect and practice social distancing. So we're pretty calm right now. Wow, great to hear. Thank you for sharing and still using masks and practicing social distancing. Smile. Even if it wouldn't be the law in my country, which it is, I would do it nevertheless. The amount of stupidity with people is incredible. I'm hoping it becomes more of a norm in Western civilization to wear a mask when ill. Pre-COVID, a friend had regular large-ish get-togethers at a particular house. The hostess, of Asian descent, was wearing a mask one night. When asked about it, she said, "I feel fine now, but I had some sniffles earlier in the week and don't want to get anyone else sick." I has corona. Felt like shit for 3 days, fever dreams with hallucinations, couldn't leave my bed. A week later back to normal. Now about 4 months later I don't feel like there is any permanent damage. Glad to hear you're feeling normal again. Still can't smell or taste a thing, 6 months later. One of my friends is in a medical study to determine the reason that his nor his children's smell or taste has returned 7 months after COVID recovery. The theory is that it's possibly neurological damage, not damage to the receptors. He thinks his smell is returning, but in the most recent test they did, when blindfolded, he failed for everything except strong bleach. They also think his brain remembers some things, like, he remembers what a lemon smells and tastes like, so the secondary and tertiary areas of his brain are activating. Took me 6 months before I realized I couldn't smell or taste coffee anymore. I knew my sense of smell was gone because I could go in my teenager's room without hitting a smell wall, but I think my brain was filling in the memory of coffee smell taste to delay the freakout it would cause when I finally noticed. Last week husband asked me, "Couldn't you smell that the coffee was done?" And it finally hit me. No, I can't smell the coffee. And without the smell, it just tastes like hot. I tested positive for COVID earlier this month. I almost never leave my house, and when I do I wear a face mask. It started as any other flu. On the 3rd day I lost my sense of smell. Completely. I couldn't even smell vinegar, nor have a physical reaction towards such a strong smell. I decided to take the test and it ended up being positive. Since I live with my parents and my brother, I was super worried I might have spread the virus to them. Luckily, no one presented symptoms even though, before the test was positive, we were together for extended periods without using face masks. For about 10 days I felt as if I had gone out to a very heavy night of drinking and dancing until 6 a.m., and as if somebody had beaten the shit out of me. I felt hungover, extremely tired, and everything hurt, especially my muscles and joints. Luckily I never had fever, or respiratory problems. Now, I feel pretty much as if I never got it. My smell is returning slowly but surely, and that makes me very happy since food is probably my favorite thing ever. Food is the best, it's a blessing to be able to taste. Thank you for sharing and love hearing that you're doing all right. Stay safe and also thanks for wearing face masks. Biggest side effect was losing my 62-year-old dad to the virus. The rest of my family recovered. Just a loss of taste for a month after the fever went away. Edit: thank you guys for your kind words, I'm grateful to have had him for 33 years of my life.